Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Loaded Clips, and I'm back with another one for y'all today, man. I got a good one. We taking it back to the basics for this one because I understand a lot of you guys may not already own a gun. You may be looking into getting your first gun, so I'm taking it a step back, you know, trying to get you down to the fundamentals and understanding how to work a pistol or a handgun. Basically just how to use it, how it functions, basic things on how to hold it, how to grip it, and things like that. Just Pistol 101, you can think of this video as Pistol 101. We're gonna get down to the basics, down to nitty gritty, and just take you down from start to finish, everything that you need to know about how to work a pistol. Alright? With that being said, if you're here, if you're watching, if you're supporting like you guys have been so far, go ahead and drop a like on that video, man. Go ahead and leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on all notifications so you don't miss a video. I appreciate you guys' support, man. Go ahead and keep running it up and let's get this thing started. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Now for this video, I'm going to be demonstrating with my Canik TP9 Elite SC right here. This is my baby right there. I have a magazine in here just with some dummy rounds, so no actual live ammunition is in the gun, but I got dummy rounds in there just so you can kind of get a full understanding as to, you know, the basics as to how it will work when you actually have ammunition in there. Alright, so I figured it'd be easier to show you guys from more of a bird's eye view perspective, but here I have my Canik pistol right here, and just to show you guys again, these are dummy rounds in the gun, so no live ammunition being used here, just fake rounds. But right here, I'm just going to cover a couple basic things. I guess first thing will obviously be the magazine release. So this button right here is the magazine release of the pistol. So you press this button and it drops the magazine from the gun, so you can take that out and do whatever you got to do. So when you're holding the gun, it's made that way so that you can just take your thumb and just press that, you know, real easy and be done with it. Now obviously this is if you're right-handed. This is not an option on all pistols, but mine does have the option to switch the button over to the right hand side, so that if you're holding the pistol with your left hand, you can hit it with your thumb right here. Obviously I'm right-handed, so mine isn't over here, but if you were left-handed, that would be a good option. However, not every gun has that, so if that's something important to you, you might want to keep that in mind if you're shopping for something for a left-handed person. All right. Next thing would be the slide lock. So this, let me take the magazine out. This whole upper portion of the gun right here is called the slide, pretty much, because obviously it slides. So if you need to lock the slide back, now obviously if you're shooting the gun and you run out of ammo, the slide will automatically lock back after the last shot, so you won't have to do it there. But if you do need to lock the slide back for whatever reason, you could just push back right here, push this little lever up like that, and it will lock it back just like that. Now again, a feature of this pistol is that this slide lock is ambidextrous. So it looks exactly the same here as it does on this side. It's not like that for every gun. For example, I have my Ruger Security 9 pistol. See if I can get it to focus right there. Yeah. And this is the slide lock here. So if I need to lock that back, I just push that up and it'll lock back. However, there is nothing on this side for me to do that. So again, something to keep in mind if you're left-handed and you want something to accommodate that. Just be aware of, you know, the different features that come on whichever gun you may want to get. So that's pretty much that. Put that back away and drop that back down. All right, cool. Now let's talk about aiming a pistol, right? So most pistols will have iron sights, what's called iron sights, right? And iron sights are kind of just sights that are built into the gun. So you'll notice at the front right here, there's a little sight with a little dot on the front, and on the back there's these
two-sided little, I don't really know how you describe them, but you have a front sight and a rear sight. And in order for you to aim, your job is to line those up. So you see that white dot at the front? You want to get that white dot right in between those two posts right there, as centered as possible. And that's where you are aiming at. That's where the bullet is going to go once you have those sights lined up, obviously within a certain range, but that's your goal, to be able to line those up and be able to aim at your target. So it definitely takes practice to, to do quickly. So when you're first starting out, it may take you a little bit longer to line these sights up, and that's totally okay. Not everybody is John Wick, right? And they can just put the thing right on target in less than a second. But that's what you want to do. You want to get those lined up so that you can actually hit what you're aiming at. Now let's talk about holding the pistol, right? So this is something that, some people may differ on. But I think for the most part, generally speaking, everybody kind of tends to hold the pistol the same way. There's a fundamental way you should be holding it, with some slight variations depending on the person, right? So me, I'm right-handed, obviously, so I'm going to grip it with my right hand. So in gripping it, I want to make sure that I'm getting like the web of my hand like right in this little ducktail right there. I don't know what you really call that. But right there, kind of as high as I can get it without going above the slide, so that when this thing comes back, it's not hitting me. So just want to kind of get it in there good. Wrap my fingers around the grip. Keep my thumb rested right here. There's actually a little spot where you can kind of rest your thumb on this gun. An index finger right here, obviously, until I'm ready to pull the trigger. Then it'll be there. Now for my second hand, I kind of just like to put my fingers in between each other. So like my pinky, ring, and middle finger will kind of just be right there. It really just depends. This is a fairly small gun, so it may differ slightly. If it's a larger gun with the larger grip, you may be able to put it more down here. But for this one, I kind of get it in there how I can get it in there. Wrap it around, and I like to sit this thumb on top of my right thumb, and then just kind of keep it like that. Now you want to make sure you have a tight grip on it whenever you're aiming, because you don't want the recoil of the pistol to kind of control your hands. You want to have a tight grip on it so that you can control it to a certain extent. Now don't grip it to the point where you're cutting the circulation off of your hands, but you want to get a tight grip on it so that you have a firm control, a firm grasp on the gun, and you can follow up shots one right after the other without losing control pretty easily. Like I said, some people will do things slightly differently. This is just kind of how I do it and what works for me. You may differ slightly depending on like the size of your hand, the size of your gun that you're using, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. These are small things that could affect the way that you grip a gun. This just works for me, and so just to give you a basic idea of what you should do, this is why I'm showing you this, so that you can kind of get a good basic understanding. So hopefully that helped. Now obviously on the gun, the most obvious thing to point out would be the trigger. So this is obviously the trigger right here. Now a key thing about triggers on pistols is when you're firing them, you don't necessarily want to just pull the trigger, right? So you check this clear. So before you can pull the trigger, right, you have to make sure that the gun is chambered. So you chamber it, obviously there's nothing in here right now, but you chamber it by pulling the slide back and just letting it go. Now the pistol is ready to fire. So you pull the trigger, that click is the gun firing. Just like that, right? But now, when most people, if you've never shot a gun before, a lot of people will think automatically that you just, pull the trigger and the gun shoots, which is true. However, to be accurate, you really want to be aware of how you're pulling the trigger. So to practice, you will want to pull the trigger slowly, and you'll notice that, if I could get in close here, come on, focus, focus, focus. Well, I think you guys can kind of see. There we go, there we go. So you notice you want to pull the trigger slowly, and you'll notice that it stops, kind of like you kind of hit a wall right there on the trigger. So this is the point where you kind of get like a little wiggle room on the trigger before it fires. You want to depress to that point, and then once you push it a little bit further is when it'll actually fire, right? And then so on and so forth. And again, another thing to notice is after you pull the trigger will have to reset before you can fire again. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna pull slowly, hit that wall right there, pull again. Now if I keep my finger on the trigger, chamber it again, I'm just gonna slowly release off the trigger. Okay, now you heard that click. That was the trigger resetting. So now I can fire again. I don't have to let the trigger go all the way. I can fire again right from that position. So again, I'm gonna hold the trigger down, let go, and fire just like that. Now the reason for needing to use a trigger like that is because you want to have as much control over when the trigger is pulled as possible. So if you're just kind of pulling it, any kind of way, your hand will kind of shake a little bit, as you're pulling the trigger. And the more your hand is shaking or not stable, the less accurate your shots will be. So in order for them to be as accurate as possible, you want to make sure that you know when that firing is actually being triggered, so that you can be as accurate as possible. So if you hear people talk about, how a pistol has a quick reset or something like that, and that it's easy to fire, like Canex. Canex are known for having very nice triggers and quick resets. So you can almost, as soon as you let off the trigger, I'm just moving really slowly, you can push it back and fire again right away. So if you're firing multiple rounds, you shouldn't really have to move your finger that much in between firing rounds. So I'm just gonna put the dummy rounds in here. I'm going to pull the slide, see the ammo, let it go, pull the trigger. Now, if you pull the slide again, it'll eject around just like that, and boom, that's it.
Oh, I had to take my jacket off. It's too hot in here, man. But anyways, that's the end of this video, guys. I appreciate you for watching. Hopefully you learned something useful. Hopefully I was able to provide some value to you guys. So again, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I would really appreciate it, guys. Let's get these videos out to more people. Share with a friend, and look, man, I'm just trying to spread as much knowledge as I can, because I want more people to be able to experience the joy of firearms, and of course be safe while doing it, man. We got to be safe at the end of the day. We got to be safe, because safety is the most important thing. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, stay tuned for the more videos on the way. Got a lot of stuff coming at you guys, because I'm not stopping. But you'll see for yourself soon. I don't even gotta say all that. You'll see. But anyways, thank you again for watching. Be safe, be smart, be blessed, and I'll see y'all in the next one, man. I'm out.